We're back in the shop. We need to put rear brakes on our '07 Chevy Avalanche. We purchased these Durago premium brake rotors, and we have some Duralast gold ceramic pads to go with it. We purchased the rotors online. We got them for about half the price as the rotors that we could get at AutoZone. The pads came from AutoZone. Way back when I first bought this truck, the first brake job, I went to AutoZone and got some pads, and they said they were guaranteed for life. I've brought them back 3 or 4 times now, and they just keep giving me new sets. So the pads didn't cost us anything, and the rotors were cheap, so this would be a fairly inexpensive repair today. There's the part numbers for the pads and rotors we're using. As you can see, both the pads and the rotors come out of China. Seems like that's where all the parts come from these days. Well, next we'll get it up in the air, get the wheels off, and get started. If you like the video and you find it helpful, hit the subscribe button and the thumbs up. I'd appreciate that. We'll start by zipping the wheels off. Turn that up a little. There we go. Yeah, they need to be replaced. These rotors are pretty crusty. We'll get started by removing the 2 caliper bolts. Can't get my impact in here today, so I'm doing this by hand. And the bolt wants to turn on the pin, so you have to hold the pin. Today I'm able to hold this just by hand, luckily. Sometimes you have to put a wrench on it. There's the first one. And these are coming right out. And just use a screwdriver to pry off that brake rotor, or brake caliper, sorry. Now don't hang it by the hose. Grab a coat hanger or some kind of hook, or I'm just going to set on the control arm here. But don't leave it hanging by the hose, that's not a good idea. Yeah, I just tucked it out of the way. I'll pop the pads off. Yeah, they're pretty thin. A little worse shape than the front we did earlier. Yeah, not a lot left on them. Got our money out of them. For the 4th or 5th time, I guess. Now next will be the caliper mounting bolts. Not sure what size those are. $18 it is. Now these tend to be pretty tight. Usually use an impact, but like I said, we can't really get it in here. May end up getting the power bar out. Yep, that's tight. Alright, right back. Alright, let's give this a try with the power bar here. That's better. Still tight, but we'll try to get the ratchet on. Put a wrench on it. That always helps. Sure feels like these have a lot of Loctite on them. Now it's coming easier. There we go. Yep. Load it up with Loctite. Now we'll pull the bottom one out and come right back. A couple more turns and the bottom bolt will be out. And we can pull the bracket right off. Now we'll take that over to the bench in a minute, get it all cleaned up. But first, try to pull the rotor off. Oh, and it's going to come off too. Usually it gets hung up on the parking brake or rusted on. We got lucky today. Came right off. So the outside of this rotor, the pads are probably only touching about 2/3 of it. Inside, probably even less, maybe half. So this wasn't doing a whole lot of stopping for us. Next we'll remove the clips and get underneath it all cleaned up. What happens is rust gets underneath these the hardware kit here, and it will lift the clips up a little. Then your pads won't slide back and forth that freely. As you can see, there is a bunch of rust under there. See if I can bring it in a little closer. So we're going to clean that up. We got a wire wheel on the drill, and then we use a file to get it a little better yet. So this is a pretty important step. If you don't remove the rust from under here, your pads are going to wear out prematurely for sure. Just because they won't be able to wiggle back and forth or slide back and forth. So just file it down enough to get the rust off and get a little bit shiny anyways. Doesn't have to be perfect, but just want to get all the high spots off for sure. Just take a couple minutes and do this. Alright, we're going to flip it around and do the top side, and I'll bring you back after that. Next is the pins here. And this helps the whole bracket slide back and forth, making your pads wear evenly as well. If these freeze or stick there, you're going to get premature wear again. So we want to pull these pins out. Make sure that the boots aren't tore. And that upper pin could definitely use some lube. Lower one looks decent. What I'm going to do is I'll take this to the wire wheel, just clean that up a little bit, and then we'll re-lube it. So this is the grease we're using. I think we just got this from AutoZone. But it's brake caliper grease and synthetic. Seems to work well. We'll just lube this pin back up. Here, making sure it slides real well. We're in good shape. I'll just put a little more in the bottom one too, especially up around the collar here. Whoa. Alright, that should be okay. Wiggles nice. So next we'll be applying a little grease underneath where the hardware goes. And the sole purpose of that is to keep the rust away. You don't want it rust checking or rust jacking. Be careful you don't get too much grease in here, because then you'll just end up on the rotor. Just a nice, decent, thin coat's all you need. And find our hardware kit. Goes on like so, just pressed firmly down, and that's it. Some people put a little grease in here as well. Yeah, can if you want. I find that the dust and dirt just seems to stick to that grease and doesn't do you a whole lot of good. I'll flip over and do the same on this side. Oh, got a little too much grease in the brush this time. Yeah, you don't need a ton. You don't want to get it all over the rotor. So our pins move freely. Got new hardware, greased up. Now we'll check on our pads here. Now they do a pretty decent job packaging these. They're, wrapped in paper, keep them dry. There's two with the squeakers and two without. So obviously we'll grab one of each. Squeaker usually goes up against the side with the piston. And what we're going to do is just try these on. Make sure there's some play, which there is. Yeah, we can slide these back and forth rather easy, but without a ton of play either way, so we're in good shape. We'll get the rotor out of the box, get that bolted on, and we can continue on. Something else I got in the habit of doing is just writing on the box. I keep the boxes with the old pads in them, because I have to return them for warranty if I ever wear them out. I just write on there 07 Avalanche, rear, September, year 2000, and the amount of miles on it, 171,000. It just helps me keep track of when the last brake job was. There's really no rust to clean up on our hub face this time. So we're just going to slide the rotor right on. We'll leave the anti-seize on there that's on there and keep moving forward. It's pretty unusual for us, but we're happy about it. Next thing we're going to do is take our bolts over to the wire wheel, clean them up, get some fresh Loctite on them. Next we'll get the caliper bracket bolted back on. Probably only see my arm. Next we'll clean up the caliper a little bit and get the piston pushed back in. I always just wipe all the old grease that I put on, wipe that off, clean it up a little bit. If it's stuck on a little, I'll just get a scrape road or a wire brush and knock any rust off. Sometimes the rust from the pads stick to this, so we want it kind of clean. Don't rip the boot. And the same with the other side here, where the other outer pads will sit. Want that cleaned up nice too. That looks pretty decent. We'll grab that can of brake grease we have and get some on the piston here. Help keep things quiet and keep the pads from rusting up. And we'll put on these ears here as well, where the outer pad will rest. Some guys like to put them on the pads themselves and coat the back of the pad with grease, but either way is fine, doing it here or doing it on the pad. Next we'll put the pads on and peel this little backing stripe off, or a little backing strip, whatever it is here. Easier said than done. There we go. Yeah, so the inner pad's the one with the squealer on it. Okay, they're in. Oh, I never pushed the caliper piston back. Damn it. I always forget something. So we're just going to throw an old brake shoe or brake pad up against the piston and we'll slide it in with our C-clamp. As long as it goes in smooth, you're good. A lot of resistance on it, there might be something wrong, so you need to check that out. And we have checked the master cylinder to make sure there's room for this extra fluid being pushed back into it. Yeah, we'll clean that up with a little extra grease on it. Alright, that should work better. Okay, now to mount the caliper. Slide that over. Make sure the hose isn't kinked or anything. Push the pins in. Line everything up. It should go back together easy. Got the top bolt started. Again, these are 13 mil. Top one, the pin wants to keep sliding, so we'll just throw a wrench on it. Well, what we'll do next is we'll go look up the torque specs and torque everything to spec. Well, we got all the wheels tightened to spec, got it back on the ground, taking it for a test drive. Everything seems perfect, nice and silky smooth when we stop. We're pretty happy with it. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel and give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.